All right, what's up, everybody? How's it going? We're gonna have a little bit of a chat here. But first, let's make sure everybody can hear me. Make sure the mic's good. Make sure everybody give me a thumbs up or something. Make sure you just comment in the chat, I guess, and make sure you can hear me. Let me know that it's good. Hopefully, I'm not just talking to myself. Okay, I got somebody says thumbs up. Sounds good. We're good to go. So if you want, go ahead, comment in the comments and let me know what your favorite balls of all time are. Now, let's be real. Like, I'm not actually talking about let's not go back too far. Let's go reactive resin era. So reactive resin on forward. Just simply because we want to try and relate a lot of those bowling balls. Once the cores got into effect, once the big cores came in, we want to talk about how we can relate them. And I put a list together for myself, and I'm sure I'm missing some, but I got a list of 7 bowling balls here that make my list as bowling balls that at one point or another have had a big impact on my game, on my success, the things that I've seen. So I'm going to go through these here with you and kind of just chat about some of the similarities. And to me, when I look at my list, it makes an awful lot of sense as to why I like all these balls. And this is the first time I've ever done this and actually looked at all these bowling balls and then took the numbers of the cores and thought about it. This is the first time I've looked at them and it threw me off just because I wasn't expecting the numbers to be what they are. So anybody that knows me or knows how I've talked over the last, call it, let's say 10 years, knows I talk an awful lot about the lower differential balls. So like the IQ Tours, Tundras, stuff like that. There was that was another one that I needed to add. What was that track ball? That ugly track ball. Oh, I drilled like 5 of them. I won so many events with them. At the time, it was like in 2013 or 2012. It was the track. Man, I can't remember. It was so ugly though. It was like an orange and yellow and everything else. It was one of the weaker ones. It wasn't anything. I'm gonna try and see if I can't find it, just because I want to know. I think it was a 300A or 300T. I think it was. Let me take a look. Track 300T. Images. Yeah, 300T. That was the ball. Everybody hated that ball, and I was one of the only ones. So let me add that to my list real quick, and let me look at the numbers here, see what that comes out to, because that might actually be a little bit different than these ones that I'm looking at right now on my list. So where can I find the numbers? Yeah, it was an 025 diff. So we're looking at it was 255.025, which is definitely different than the ones that I have listed here. But that goes along with like the IQ Tour range. Sorry, I'm just trying to write this down so that way I got it for you. And I don't remember, was that symmetrical? Was it symmetrical or asymmetric? Oh, dang it, man. See, all these info. Gotta have the info. I should have had it before. But you guys made me just think of it. I saw somebody actually pop up with some trackball 811 or something like that. And it reminded me of this ball. But I drilled like 5 of them. I gotta try to figure it was symmetric. Yep. So that makes sense too. So we add that, and then like the IQ Tour in there, another symmetric that was in there that I liked. So, all right, so let's go through this list. Sorry, a little bit of a delay there. I'm a little behind, but let's go through this list and see what. But first, before I get to this, make sure to head over. If you're on YouTube right now, hit that join button if you're not already a member. Some of you can see like Robert Crump here. I'm gonna go ahead and pop his comment up here, because he is a member. So you can see that little symbol next to his name. You can see that symbol. That means he's a member of the channel, and he supports the channel, and he gets access to the exclusive footage. So I just posted all 5 games on my membership from this past weekend. And this is a good one to watch because I was frustrated. This was one that I was like, man, nothing went right. I didn't make any good moves. My head wasn't in it. I had a lot going on that weekend, and it just wasn't a good event. I bowled awful. And you could see the frustration. I mean, there was times I tried to bowl on the wrong lane. I was standing in the wrong spot, and I didn't catch it until afterwards. Like, my head was just so far gone. It was unbelievable. But you get to see all those. So all 5 of those games. And so the cool thing is once the Players Championship comes up and that starts, I'm going to be taking footage at all the PBA events. You're going to get behind the scenes footage. You're going to get mic'd up footage during these events as well. And I'm going to have somebody there working the camera with me. And then I'll post these on the membership. So you're going to get to see an awful lot of different footage, behind the scenes stuff at PBA events. If you look in the description on YouTube, you'll be able to see a lot of the stuff you'll get, as well as early ball reviews. So like, I got this new, the new Roto grip ball, that new, what the heck is this thing? It's pretty. Oh yeah, that new Rubicon, the new one, the Pro one. So I got that one, and that one will be coming out perfect. It'll be coming out early for the members, and you guys will get to see that on there before anybody else. So that'll be pretty cool. But you get an awful lot of stuff. See, here's another one. You see, the extra axis is awesome. So yeah, try to pop up videos, every couple of days or so, that you guys get extra footage and stuff you can see in there, and try to learn. This time, those 5 games, you could learn what not to do. This was a perfect example of what not to do. So that don't go bowl a tournament if your head's not in it. If you got something going on in the back of your mind and you can't fully focus on an event, probably not a good idea to go do that. So, and believe it or not, that weekend was a good learning experience for me, because now I've read 2 books in the last week. I'm not going to name those books because they're more personal for me, but 2 books that have kind of changed my mindset a little bit and has helped me in the areas that I was struggling. So it should be good to help me in the future, moving on to these next events coming up. So it'll be pretty cool. But anyway, we've got a lot of new footage that's going to be coming through, a lot of new ball reviews and stuff that are coming out. All those New Brunswick balls are going to be popping through here pretty soon. I know a lot of the staffers got them. A little weirded out how I haven't gotten them yet, though, because I'd like to be able to get those reviews popped up and done for them, so we can, let anybody know if they're good or not. So, Inner Game of Tennis, yeah, that's a good comment there. Yeah, I've heard a lot about that. One of the good books that I liked, that I've read twice now, is Mind Gym by Gary Mack. That's a good one, because that one teaches you that you can practice even when you're not practicing. Like, you don't have to be at a bowling center to actually practice, which is really cool. But anyway, so the whole idea behind this is I want the membership to be able to learn from my good and my bad. So you get to see good moves, bad moves. The times when I bowl bad, I'm going to tell you exactly, what was going on, why things were. But one thing I will note, that in game 5, I decided to grab that RST and move left just to try to see. I'm like, okay, I know this ball's good playing straighter. It struggled in certain spots trying to go left or right. Maybe this is a situation on a shorter pattern. Will it look better playing further left? And it did, and it actually did. So now that gives me a good idea of a ball in that type of situation that I can go to when I need something that can do that. So that was pretty cool. At least I learned something there. But that's the whole idea, is to make sure that you guys in my membership are able to learn from me, from the good and the bad, and be able to get all the bonus footages and stuff as well. So make sure to head over to my YouTube channel. I think it's probably tough to do on your phone, because you got to open it up in a desktop browser to get that join button to pop up. But if you're on a computer, it's real easy. Just hit join, and then you can connect in. It's only $4.99 a month. It's nothing. So it makes it pretty cool. Oh, and when I get to 100, I'm right at about 50 now. I think I had 48 before I started this. So as soon as I get to 100 members, I'm going to give away a ball of choice. So whatever ball you want, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it to a member, a random member. So if you want to have a chance to win, a couple $100 bowling ball, pop in there, become a member, and I will pick somebody at random. I'll make a list of all the members, and we'll do some kind of a drawing of some sort. So figure out how I'm going to do it, but it's going to be random somehow. But anyway, so moving on, I've got a list of bowling balls here, and some of these may surprise you. Some of these probably won't. You talked about a couple of them already, the Track 300T and that IQ Tour. Track 300T being that 255025. I don't remember what the IQ Tour is. I'd have to go look it up, but I remember, I think it's 030 is something like that. So yes, Exactly. Nothing wrong with a chance to win a free bowling ball. I'll be giving other stuff away too, probably like Bowler X shirts and stuff like that. I'll talk to Lee and, see what kind of stuff he wants to chip in here and there and get stuff going. I think it'll be pretty cool. So, but list, if everybody on here, if you want, go ahead and list let's call it your top 5. List your top 5 bowling balls of all time in the reactive resin era. If you're older, you got your bleeders and your white dots and stuff like that. Let's try to leave those out. Let's just try to keep it pretty modern, at least in the reactive resin era. And we'll kind of go from there. But for me, probably the ball that gave me the most success was a ball that I drilled in college, and I was drilling a lot of balls when I was at Saginaw Valley. It was in 2006, 2007 season where I was drilling a lot of balls. I drilled a bunch of the EBI balls. I drilled anything you could imagine. I just started drilling stuff. And then I was drilling a lot of my stuff out of Brian Wallachek's shop. He was at Candlelight Lanes up in Frankenmuth, or the Bridgeport area. And he was cool enough to drill all our stuff. He only charged us like $25 to do a ball or something like that. So he did all the college kids stuff. And we were able to, we bought stuff from, we were on Hammer staff. So we were able to get any of the EBI brand stuff or the Hammer brand stuff for like $50 a ball or something. It was a pretty cool price. It was pretty cool. So, we'd take some of our, scholarship money and some of our, student loan money, and we'd, just buy a bunch of bowling balls. And that's what I did. I put a lot of my money, a lot of the money that I had from student loans and stuff, I put away into like a tournament fund so I could like pay for my way into tournaments and stuff like that. I blew a lot of money, which was pretty stupid. And then I bought a lot of bowling balls, which was good and bad. And one of those things, I walked into Brian's shop and he had a ball sitting on the shelf, and it was been there for, months. And I asked him about it. I'm like, what's up with this thing? What's it all about? And he's like, I don't know. I can't move it. It's ugly. People don't like the looks of it. I'll give it to you for cheap. And he ended up giving it to me for like $80 or something. I'm like, okay, perfect. Let's go. So I drilled it anyway. And that was a Roto Grip Horizon. Now, again, it was another one of those bowling balls that nobody really liked. I haven't come across very many people that actually liked it. And maybe this one was a weird one. It was a trick one, because I remember when we were drilling it, he put it in the drill press, and he had one of the plates that had to go on top. Well, the plate wouldn't lock. The ball was too small. So he actually had to put a towel underneath it to take up some space to get the ball to actually lock in spot. So this ball was actually smaller than some of the other ones. I remember that specifically because I drilled like 4 or 5 more after this one, and none of the other ones were too small. All the other ones actually fit fine. And coincidentally enough, none of the other ones rolled good. I drilled a bunch of them, and they all rolled so much earlier than this one. This one did not roll early. This one was the cleanest ball I've ever seen with the most down lane I've ever seen. Oh, you guys just reminded me of a ball that I actually needed to throw in here. And I'll tell you about it in a minute. So we'll throw that in there. That's a symmetrical one as well, I think. I'll have to look for sure. But so anyway, so I had the Roto Grip Horizon. That was the best ball. The most success I've seen out of a bowling ball was with that. And the reason I say that is because that's the ball I used at college nationals. And we won a national championship, and I struck like crazy with me and Dan McClellan bowling together. The two of us, our strike percentage had to be above 80% for all the shots we threw that weekend, or that week. It was insane. It was crazy. We struck a lot. Our whole team struck a lot, but the two of us in 4 or 5 slot, it was pretty crazy. We struck a ton. We weren't losing. We weren't losing that tournament. So we ended up winning the national championship that year. And then I bowled another event. It was the Bud Light Challenge out in New York. My buddy Steve Novak and I, we drove across Canada to get over there. I think it was just in Rochester, so it was a closer drive. But we drove over there and bowled that, and then I ended up winning that. It was only like 6,000, but at that time it was like I really haven't won many events. I won a bunch of like Brian Regan events and stuff, smaller events. But at the time, that was one of the bigger events that I've won. I made a couple $1,000s in brackets and ended up winning that event. So I made close to 10 grand that weekend, which was pretty cool. And then That same year, I went and bowled the Cleveland Kickoff. And this was anybody that's ever bowled that event, this one actually brings in a different ball. So this ball, that Roto Grip Horizon, accounted for a national championship and then my first big tournament win. And I could be wrong. I might have the timing wrong, but this was all in the same year. So I went to the Cleveland Kickoff, and this one paid $10,000 to win. And I bowled qualifying. My look was okay. Didn't bowl great, but I still qualified. I was 100 and something over. Anybody that's ever bowled that event, you go 100 over, you bowled really good, or at least you scored really well. Now I think I was in the top 10 or something, and then we, kind of moved on. The ball of choice for that weekend was the Ebonite Total Envy. And I know that ball came out that year because the team we bowled in college nationals was Robert Morris, and literally every single one of their guys threw the Total Envy. Caught my attention here. You're talking a lot about Saginaw. How is McKendree, former MCK? Yeah. Knepper better talk about me, dang it. I pretty much helped him build that place. Yeah, that program's sweet now. That program that's a good program there. But yeah. Dennis Knepper. Yeah, I'll tell that story when I get through here. But basically, Dennis was one of the guys that when Gary White was there at McKendree, before Dennis, Gary talked me into going down there, and I went down there and helped him, more or less interview some guys and talk to some coaches and people we wanted to bring in. And Dennis was, I don't know, I vibed with him. I clicked with him, and I just said, that's our guy, so Gary hired Dennis, and he had the most knowledge, and still to this day, that guy's doing some amazing things with McKendree. Now having the O'Keefes over there with Brian and Shannon, they got a killer combination, some good coaches over there. So it's pretty cool to see, and then AJ Johnson was one of the guys that I recruited, or that, he came down, and I screwed that up. He was actually supposed to bowl my senior year, and then I ended up leaving. Had some issues that came up, and I ended up leaving the year that AJ came down, and he was coming down to bowl with me, and he ended up actually taking the program and elevating it even more. So it worked out really well. So it went from me to AJ, and then from AJ to the O'Keefes, and now the O'Keefes are just building some great things over there. So it's pretty cool. So that's the short story. We'll just leave it at that. But anyway, the Ebonite Total Envy was the big bowling ball at that time that gave me the biggest tournament win for my career at that point. So I ended up winning that event for 10 grand. And I bowled, it was the semifinal match. I bowled like 264, and I played the gutter. I played the opposite of everybody else. Everybody else was trying to play in. I played right of 5 the entire time. And the Dave Ewald bowled like 250 or something the game before, and then I beat him with 260. And I didn't realize at the time that there was a $2,500 bonus for whoever bowled the highest game in the stepladder final, and that ended up being the highest game. So I ended up making an additional $2,500 there. So that was close to a $14,000 or $15,000 weekend there. It was pretty sweet. So that was with the Total Envy. So that one makes my list. The next one that makes my list, obviously, I think my next favorite is probably the IQ Tour. And the reason I say the IQ Tour is because the story goes, I drilled my first one, and I hated it. I took it out to USBCs in Reno the one year. I think it was 2014. So the same year that I made a few of the PBA TV shows. And we went and bowled the BJ early first thing in the morning, bowled the squad. I bowled like 610 or something, and I was mad. Like, this ball sucks. This ball is awful. Everybody talks it up and on. Everybody's like, oh, this ball's amazing. And I took one out there, and it rolled like crap. It went 60 feet, and it went sideways. Like, I couldn't control it. So I got mad, and I'm like, okay, well, we're bowling again. This ball has no use for me now. I might as well try to do something with it. So I took it into the storm booth, and I put a hole on my VAL up to get it to actually flare a little bit less. And I drilled it deep. I drilled a deep hole to change the core. And it did. It actually fixed it. It slowed it down, made it slow down and actually read the lane a little bit sooner. And it rounded the ball out quite a bit. So then I ended up bowling 796 with 300 game 2 or 3. I don't remember if it was game 2. I think it was game 2 with 300. So the 300 ended up being worth like $6,000. Ended up winning. I finished first, second, and third in doubles with that. And then second in singles overall. So just from the BJ alone, it was over a $20,000 hit, which was pretty cool. And then we bowled, we ended up 5th in team, and we bowled 13-18 as the highest single game ever bowled at USBC Nationals. So it was pretty sweet. So that ball makes that list. And it was pretty much my bailout ball from there on. I took it to, it was that same season. So later on in the year, I bowled the World Series. That was when I made the Chameleon show. I was 7th after qualifying in the World Championships, and I just fell off at the end of it there. But bowled pretty good. Made a couple of the show. I made the show there. Made a couple of the match plays and all that stuff. So it was pretty sweet to actually have some success at that time. And then, you know, story goes, the next year I was having more success and made a couple other, you know, extra frame shows and stuff like that. And made double show with Sammy Ventura. And I was just bowling good at that time, and I had some bowling balls in my hands that I really enjoyed, really liked. And the IQ Tour was one of them. And then the next big win was, I think, that following year, 2015. That was when Hammer came out with that Bad Intentions, that black ball that not a lot of people actually liked that one either. You know, some people did, a lot of people didn't, but we went and bowled the Paragon in Grand Rapids. At the time it was worth, I think it was worth $15,500 to win. And again, it was another time when I played further right than everybody with a, you know, big strong ball like that. That ball, Bad Intentions, 248-048. So not a huge bowling ball, but again, that to me, but between that one and the Total Envy were situational. So very situational, as in I only use them at specific times. But that was another one that I put on the list just because it gave me that, at that point, was the biggest check of an actual tournament itself for myself. And then going down the list, we've got the Storm Invasion. And I really didn't see a ton of success with it. It was just one of those balls that was a go-to. That ball gave me my first PBA 300. I was at Thunder Bowl, bowling the RPC. At the time, there was the Regional Players Championship. And I was on the end pair at Thunder Bowl. And the end pair next to like the party area, the party section, if anybody that knows Thunder Bowl. And I bowled 300 with it. And I remember that it gave me a lot that year. And that was also the ball that I used for all of my games. I bowl at USBC Nationals in 2009, where we won the Eagle, the Team All Events Eagle. And I had like 2020, I think, or something for all events that year. But it's another bowling ball that just kind of was well-rounded, let me kind of play any part of the lane. And again, when I look at the numbers, it makes sense. And I'm going to go through that here in a second. The next one on the list is the Roto Grip Hypercell. Hypercell, that was the ball that I used to make the TV show on the Chameleon. Now, there was a couple different balls I used there, which is another one that comes up, which is the Totally Defiant. Totally Defiant and the Hypercell were a combination. When I started straighter, I used the Hypercell. And then when I started to migrate in, I went to the Totally Defiant. And Schlemmer actually drilled me a pin down Totally Defiant, which anybody, if you YouTube the Chameleon Championships from 2014, I think it was, there's a clip where it shows the ending, and I needed a double in the 10th to secure the spot on the TV show, and just absolutely pured him. And that was with that pin down a Hypercell that he drilled for me before match play, or before that, you know, round. So that worked out really cool, really well, because the pin up one was just a little bit iffy for me at times. So, but the Hypercell was the one that I used on that TV show, which I only bowled 180, but the ball reaction was really good. I was just nervous and, you know, kind of threw it all over the place, which is to be expected. But I'm pretty excited. I bowled 180. I watch a lot of guys shoot 150 their first time on TV. So that was pretty cool. And then you got guys who won their first time on TV, you know, so it goes both ways. It goes all over the place. So that one made the list. The Roto, the Hypercell, and the Totally Defiant, both kind of in the same era, same time. The newest one on my list is the DV8 Warrant, that green one, the original one, because that one was a mistake as well. That one, actually, I laid out a specific way, and where I put the center line on the ball, it was supposed to be the center of my grip, and I ended up drilling the thumb on that center of the grip. So it changed the layout dramatically. And now that's a layout I use a lot. I use it on a lot of bowling balls now, which actually it's like a Rico almost, because it made the pin so much lower. But it's left of center. So it's actually like it's 5.5 or 5 1/4 or something like that over, and big first and third numbers. So big, val numbers or angle numbers. And it was that ball has gotten me through so many times where if I didn't know what to do, it was like my IQ tour. I could just grab that ball and I could do whatever I wanted. I could go left and go around it. That was the joke about it was the only times I was bowling good over the last couple of years was, or I guess the last year and a half when I was bowling, it was with that ball. Indianapolis, it bailed me out and got me a check out there. I switched to it and bowled, 298 or something, and then, caught my way through into a check thanks to that ball, because I bowled like 200 over just to get there the last like 4 or 5 games. It got me there. So that was pretty cool. But that was the thing Ronnie said. He's like, if you're bowling good, I know what ball's in your hand. You're just throwing that green thing, that Warrant. Yep, that was pretty good. So, and now, unfortunately, it's sitting in my garage on my ball rack because it doesn't fit. But luckily, I'm doing some changes. I'm changing my fit again because I just went down to Indianapolis area, went down to a tournament in Anderson, and Bill Sullivan drilled a couple of bowling balls, had me try, and with some wicked numbers that I would never even consider trying. If he didn't do it for me, I know you're listening, Billy, but I probably wasn't going to try them unless somebody else drilled it for me, because I couldn't just see myself putting those kind of numbers in them. And I'll explain that to everybody a little bit later. Once I straighten it out, I am going to make the change to it. Probably I was going to go up there today, but because the wife has today off and she's at the gym right now, I'm going to spend some time with her the rest of the day. And then maybe tomorrow I'll shoot up there and start plugging stuff, because now our pro shop can at least open, or I should say Mason's pro shop over at Classic Lanes. They can at least be open. The bowling center's open, I think, from noon to like 9 each day. So I'm going to probably go up there early afternoon tomorrow, start plugging some stuff. I think the Warrant I'm going to take up there and I'm going to plug the fingers, or I'm going to plug, actually I got to plug the whole thing. That sucks because everything changes. The finger pitch has changed. The thumb pitch has changed. I got to plug everything. So I'm going to change that and make sure that layout's on there the same as what it was and be able to use that ball still. And I've got the Warrant, the solid Warrant. So that one I have to plug as well. But then I've got 6 of the hustles. I've got all the hustles that I'm putting holes in as well. I'm going to be putting this new one in there. I'm putting this new fit on them. So, but moving on. Actually, that puts me through. The last one was the track Kinetic that I don't know the numbers for. So if somebody wants to look those up for me, go ahead and look them up. But the Kinetic was another one that I drilled that was just sitting on the shelf back up in Gaylord. And this was a long while ago, Gaylord, Michigan, when I used to live way north. Drilled it up and took it, and I bowled my first team trials. It was like 2005 or 6. Yeah, it was 2006 because the team picked me up after team trials in Cincinnati. I flew into Cincinnati to bowl one of the Hoinky tournament or something for college. But I finished 6th that year, but I led the first day with that ball and got the bonus money. That was one of the first years that the bonus money was there for USBCs for team trials. I led the first day and kind of just grinded the rest of the way. I was in the top 5 pretty much the entire week. I was 4th going into the last day. And then I bowled like 30 over on the Masters pattern, which I bowled pretty good. I had a game breaker in my hand, but I needed something just a little bit stronger. Struggled the last day, bowled 30 over to drop to 6th. And only I think it was the top 2 made the team automatically, and then they picked 2. And I didn't end up getting picked. So I was a little irritated by that, to tell you the truth, because when you looked at the scores and the consistency between everybody, you had guys that, like a couple of guys that actually went minus a few days, but they had a couple of really big days to get them up there, and they ended up on the team, and I didn't. So it was a little frustrating because I grinded, and I was more consistent, I thought. At least I felt at the time. So, but anyway, that's that. So when we look at the numbers of these balls, when I go through this, here you go. This will explain why, why I ended up liking them, and which is really weird to me. But the Roto Grip Horizon was 247052. The Storm Invasion, and that's an ASIN. Storm Invasion 249054. So just a couple of points off. You're not going to see a difference in that. The Total Envy 250051. Again, big differential. The Hypercell 252056. Now you're starting to see a little bit higher RG there. Just makes the cover, or just makes it a little bit cleaner of a core. That's all. The Warrant, 250-054. Again, makes sense. Totally Defiant, 249-054. Bad Intentions, 248-048. That's like, other than, and that was another one that was a situational ball for me. Other than like the Track 300T and the IQ Tour, those show, those had the lower differential. But otherwise, all the bowling balls that I've really liked have actually been higher diff bowling balls, which is strange to me because I've actually been feeling like I've needed to drill more low diff stuff, higher RG, low differential stuff. So maybe not. Maybe I just need to do something a little bit different there. But those are the bowling balls that I've really liked over my time, and I've had a lot of the success with. Actually, somebody just popped up the Kinetic Energy. That ball, Brian Wolochek had one of those in his bag forever. Like he kept, in every tournament he bowled, that was probably the ball he used the most times. He had one of those things in his bag for the longest time. Which actually, this was upyoursapproach.com. Somebody sent me this cup. Upyoursapproach.com. Somebody sent me this, and then there was a book that went along with it. I haven't read the book yet, but if you're interested, go check it out. www.upyoursapproach.com. Or wait, upyoursapproach.com. Yeah, so we're good there. All right, let me see. Let me go back through, see if we got some of these members' comments. Actually, I could even throw in the LT48 in there as a situational ball. The new one, not the original one, but the new one from Brunswick, because that's the ball that gave me my first regional win. That was one of those weeks where I just didn't have anything going. I barely qualified, and then I started to make a move, made a ball change to the LT48, and kind of went back right into the track area and just started piping it, and ended up catching the leaders. Ended up getting into the lead going into the last game, and bowled Eugene McCune. Whoever ended up winning that last game won the title, and I was fortunate enough to win that game and win my first title, so that was pretty sweet. So we could throw the LT48 in there. I don't know the numbers for it, but we could throw that in there. Billy said, just like that DV8 Creed Revelations roll well for you. 85 by 3.5 by 75. Yeah, I wonder if I could just, I wonder if, there's just so much flare. It hooked a little early. Maybe it was the surface. I'm not sure. But I'd probably up it to like 4 inches or something. I don't know. We'll see. Try to see if I can't get up here to some of the other members' comments. And that's kind of the benefit too I'm going to give you. I'm going to try to stick with members' comments first, so that way another benefit. Make sure you get your comment up there. Motive Jocko Ghost, Radical Conspiracy Solid, the Venom Shock. That was one that a lot of people liked. I didn't give it much of a chance. I probably should have. The High Road, I hated. I drilled 6 of them because everybody loved it. I tried to like it. I couldn't love it. I couldn't do it. I tried. It was too early or too late. I never could get it to be in between. What are you doing? What are you doing? Go away. Sure you were. Let's see here. But yeah, I drilled 6 of the high roads. Couldn't do it. I tried really hard. There we go. There's another one there. The Theory and the Hypercell Fused. See, the Hypercell Fused was one that I feel like I wish I would have drilled because it was a cleaner, stronger hypercell, and I didn't. And the reason I didn't is because after that World Series where I was using the hypercell and all that, I ended up signing with Hammer and Ebonite, and I was on staff with them for 5 or 6 years. So that's one of the major reasons why I didn't end up drilling some of those other balls that a lot of people liked. Wish I could have, but I was bowling well with the Hammer stuff too. So Fringe, the Ultra Zone, the Cell Pearl, and the Cell Mutant Cell. Mutant Cell, I saw a lot. Like Danny Wiseman made the Mutant Cell look really. Oh no, that was the Rogue Cell. He probably made the Mutant Cell look good too. But the Rogue Cell, he made look really good at the Masters that one year. I don't remember what year it was, but Danny made that ball look really good. I wanted one. So there's nothing wrong. Chance to win a bowling ball. Yes. Okay. So I got through the comments. So we should be good there. Got all the members through there. Pop them down. What do you got now, Billy? 249055. So I should like that ball. That's the similar numbers. So I really should. I should like that ball. I shouldn't have a problem with it. So we're gonna put holes in it and see what we got. We got Brett says the Roto critical theory and the smoking inferno. Oh, that reminds me also the original Vapor Zone, the first one. I loved that ball. But that ball came out when I was bowling on Wood Lanes. I was up in Gaylord again, and the Wood Lanes, that Vapor Zone and the Ultimate Inferno. This was when I was really just starting to get into bowling and get better at it. But that Ultimate and the Vapor Zone, I bowled a small tournament that weekend, and I bowled like back-to-back 279s. And I was like, I was in love. Like that ball let me do whatever I wanted on that league pattern up there, which I was already pretty good on that league condition up there. I had, ton of 800s, ton of 300s up there. But that was one of those balls that just stuck out to me. That and the Ultimate Inferno. The Ultimate Inferno was amazing too. When that Vapor Zone was just a little too weak, the Ultimate Inferno, whew. I remember at that time, that was the strongest ball I've probably ever seen at that moment. But anyway, how long have we been on this thing? Well, 20 minutes further than I thought we would. So that kind of goes to show, make your list of bowling balls that you really like. And I bet you most times you're going to see a similarity in them. There's going to be something about, the core numbers, or maybe if it's the cover stocks, something like that, that is going to look really similar to you. And so now you'll be able to make a little bit better decisions when you're going to drill some new bowling balls and stuff. Look at the numbers of some of the bowling balls that you really liked and you had a lot of success with. And for me, like all these bowling balls, like it's not like I only had success on certain patterns. All these bowling balls are similar, and I had success on all kinds of different patterns. So these I think, were the most versatile that allowed me to, just play different parts of the lane and play different patterns however I really wanted. And I was able to do some, have some success based on that. So, I have them anywhere from 247 all the way up to 256, or 056 as the differential. So anywhere from 247 up to 252, so within 5 points there, and then from 248 all the way up to 054. So so 6 points there. There's a lot of similarities in what I'm seeing in those bowling balls, of course. So. Is the Vapor Zone comparable to the LT? I don't know. I don't know what the new one's like. I drilled a Vapor Zone hybrid, and it was okay, but it lost its get up and go after a couple of games. So I wasn't that impressed by that ball. It looked good to start. Like it was crazy down lane when it started, and then it started getting weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. And then I even tried to pull it out on a fresh pattern again a couple of days later, and it was still weak. So it just kind of died on me real fast. It very well could be. I don't know. I didn't have a LT48 to compare it to at the time, but I would still say I like the LT48 better for sure. Have I ever bowled with a Brunswick Mastermind? Yes, actually, I drilled the original Mastermind, the orangish one. I drilled it before the Masters when that ball came out because everybody liked it, and I didn't like it at all. I don't know. I'm weird. I don't know what it is. There's something about the bowling balls that a lot of people, like. I don't end up, caring for them all that much. I build my arsenal using your number system, especially when I talked to you at the Glass Bowl. Yes. Yep. Yeah. So the number system actually works out pretty good. Gives you a real good idea of, where your bowling balls fit to kind of get you going. So, but anyway, so that's kind of where I wanted to go with this. That was all I wanted to do, is just touch on why those bowling balls are my favorite, just because those numbers are real similar. So I'm going to let you out of here. Remember, make sure to hit that join button on the YouTube channel. Join for that $4.99 a month, because I'm going to be giving away bowling ball when I get to 100 members, and then every month I will give away a bowling ball after that as well, as long as we stay above. If I start losing memberships, then I don't know why it would, but the membership's going to be worth it for sure. But hit that join button, make sure to check it out. And until next time, guys, I'm out of here.